Hey everyone, this is Jackie from Jackie's Literary Corner, and I just realized that I messed up on my June wrap up because I skipped doing a May wrap up. So two books that I read and finished in May, I included them in my June wrap up, which were the first two books, Home and the second one. I should Home and and Kiss Kiss of Deception. So, if you guys are interested, in my what I read in May, I'll do a wrap up. But I felt like I think I just kind of decide to skip talking about my May reads. But if you guys are interested, I will just put in the comment section and I'll film one. So and then the other aspect which means that two books that I read in June, that I finished in June, that I started, actually one of them I started in May. I did not talk about them in my June wrap up. So I'm going to talk about them right now. Okay, so this is actually the very first book I read in May, and that is Circe by Madeline Miller, which I believe I think I've just talked about it. I've just mentioned the book. I don't know if I've actually done a review because I feel like I couldn't do a review on this because I don't have my thoughts. I don't have notes or anything, and I don't know what my thoughts specifically are. So this is going to be probably a short review of it, which is good because I want to get this done before my parents get home so that I can get ready to go to the pool. But I loved this book. This was such a great book, and it was like, I am not, I don't know if I can ever read antiquity literature, because I don't know if I would be able to understand it or get into it. I just think it'll be a little too challenging for me to read. But this particular one, it brought the story to life and helped me to understand it. Even though it wasn't actually a retelling, it's actually a story of a character from the Odyssey, the witch that Odysseus meets, that he stays on her island for a year, I believe. And we only got like 2 chapters with her character. And I think there might have been a little bit more about her character, like we find out that she had a son with Odysseus, I believe. But this story elaborates on that story. It expands on her story. Now, of course, Madeline Miller, when you don't know a lot, so Madeline Miller just took the little bit of information that she had and drew her own conclusions and came up with her own ideas for the character. She made the character more sympathetic and understandable, and I feel very relatable. She's someone who is very insecure and just wants to be loved and accepted by her family, and she's not. Especially since she is part of a family of gods, and gods, they're not good with the whole emotional stuff. They don't give a rat's ass. They don't care. They just enjoy messing with mortals and having their power and stuff like that, but they don't get emotionally attached. This is not the typical familial bond that Circe, in fact, the bond is not even there. And every time she thinks she found someone that she could be close with, it turns out that it's not legit. They don't really care. They pity her, if anything, but at the end of the day, they don't care. And Circe, when they realize that she's a witch and finds out what she can do, she's banished to this island, Aiaia, I think that's how you say it, and she slowly learns to figure out things on her own and to not let it get to her and to be a stronger being, I guess. And because it's weird because she's not technically human, she's not mortal, she's a goddess. She's a witch goddess. But she just learns, like, and she has, like, through all these experiences, she grows as a goddess. And so and by the end of it, she's a really strong goddess. She can stand up, and her family can't get to her, and they can't break her down anymore. So and this whole story is definitely, not only is, it makes the story, her character story, more accessible and not just relatable. And I'm looking forward to reading Song of Achilles as well. I haven't bought it yet, but I will. I keep hoping that it's going to show up again at the Gibbons bookstore, but it still has not shown up there yet. Because that seems to happen a lot. It's like, I see a book that I've heard about a lot on BookTube, and I'm like, well, like, and it doesn't happen a lot, but I'm thinking, oh, well, I will come back to that book and I will get it another time. And then it disappeared. It's no longer there. Because with that store, it's not like, Barnes & Noble or Books A Million, where they get several copies all the time. It's a used bookstore, so the books that they sell are used. They're donated. So there's no guarantee. And, most of the people that live here are older people, like retirees and, adults that don't necessarily read stuff like this, or even read things like Sarah J. Maas's books. So on rare occasions I've gotten some books I've heard about on BookTube, but it doesn't happen a lot. Okay, and the other book I read that I got through really quickly this month, and I keep trying to think, did I read this in May or June? I don't know. I think I started Circe in May, and then I finished it up in the beginning, like the first week of June, I think. I need to write the dates. I used to do that, but then I'm trying this new method of rating my books in my bullet journal, where instead of just listing them and putting down the star rating and the title and all that, I'm like I'm trying to anyway to explain my thoughts, to like actually writing down my thoughts, but I don't write the date, which I really should do. And unfortunately, I also am using pens that go through the paper, so my review for Circe, you can't, I think it's that one for Circe, you can't really see because I wrote it in a different pen, and then the ink from those markers that I use, it seeps through, so it covers the other. It's like, I gotta work on my bullet journal and improve it a little bit, but I can't seem to. I keep trying different things, and it's not working. Like, you can't see clearly, or I feel like I didn't elaborate enough on my review, my thoughts of the books, and just. But hopefully by like next year, it'll be better. Okay, so another book I was able to squeeze in June. I think this was June. I keep saying that now that I think I've thrown off because I didn't do a May wrap up. Now I'm confused. I've confused myself because now I'm thinking, did I read these books in May or did I read them in June? Like I said, I didn't do, well, you know what, it's okay though, because like I said, I didn't do a May wrap-up, so think of this as a May-June combo wrap-up. Okay, so, next book I was able to read I think because this was a last-minute book I was able to include before June, I think. Well, like I said, this is just a combo of May and June, but books I read in May and June. Was Autumn by Ali Smith. This hard to really for me to sum up this book. Actually, I think I did talk about this book in that wrap up. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking and just talk about it. It's like I said, it's very hard for me to describe this book, but I did really enjoy it. It's about this relationship between this young woman, grew up in the 90s, and she has this relationship with an elderly neighbor, and he ends up becoming kind of a grandfatherly figure to her, especially since her relationship with her mother is a little rocky. When I was reading this, I felt like her mother was very selfish, and that Elizabeth, our main character, was more the adult than her mother was. But it was, so it was very interesting to see that relationship and to see how her relationship with this old man. In fact, her mother constantly was judging her relationship with this elderly neighbor because she's thinking, why would you be friends with this old guy? You're just a kid. Why would he care about you unless it's something pervy? Like her mom, in the beginning, she thinks maybe it's something pervy, if I remember correctly. And she's also like, when Elizabeth wants to do a project for school on her neighbor, like interviewing her mom is like, don't bother him. You just make it up. Make up the assignment. And it's just, so it's a very interesting dynamic. This book is also, it's written in stream of consciousness, which I thought that I didn't like stream of consciousness because I read To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf, and I couldn't get into it. I was bored, honestly. I try not to use the word bored, but honestly, that's how I felt. I didn't like the story. I didn't know what the heck was going on. I felt like the only person I got from that particular story was all these guys were in love with all these guys were like in love with this this housewife woman, it's in the 1920s, and they run a lighthouse or something. I can't even really sum up what that book is about, but it was just, I just couldn't get into that one, and I thought it was because of the stream of consciousness writing style, but then I had no problem with it with this one. I mean, there were times I was still confused and trying to figure out what's going on, and like I said, I can't really analyze this book, not like some of my other favorite booktubers will do. So I have some booktubers who, the ones that are the reason I got into this book in the first place, that I decided to check out Ali Smith. They do such a good job. They're very articulate, and they can recall certain things and really draw out certain aspects. Like, I do know that there's like commentary on our political climate, I believe, in this book. But I couldn't like find that. The only way I could do that is if we studied this in a classroom. Which reminds me, if I do, I'm thinking about taking a British literature class. It would be really cool if we analyzed Ali Smith. But we might be, I don't know if we'll be doing any modern British literature if I get in the class, because I still have to register. I still have to do the whole registration process, and then we just send the information. The information is in the ether of the internet, so I guess I have to wait until they email me. So, and there's only 12 seats left in the class, so I'm really nervous. I'm really worried that I won't get, and I really want to take it. Because I really enjoy British literature, and I really want to take it, but I'm nervous that it won't happen, because we waited too long. But anyway, but if we studied, like, this book in a classroom, then, yeah, someone could help me pick and choose those things, like, things that talk about, like, pinpoint that kind of, like, about our political climate. But I can't, on my own, after the first reading of it, I don't think I can't. And I do want to read Winter, though, when I don't know, like, that might be on my Christmas list this year. But anyway, I did enjoy this book. I wish I could, be a more critical reviewer and point out all these things and be able to crawl that stuff. But I also find it hard to, when you're reading a book, to, like, find quotes to talk about, find, like, scenes to talk about. Because then underlining, highlighting, and marking up a book, because then I have to take the time and stop reading the book and then, mark in the book. And I have a problem defacing or marking up my book. That's because I have done that a few times. But it's kind of presents this challenge where you have to stop and take the time to do it. And, maybe that's lazy on my part, but yeah, I enjoy this. I'm glad I read it. I mean, maybe there's probably a lot of stuff that I don't understand, but I still got I still got stuff from it, and I still understood I still knew, I understood the basic premise. But that's, like I said, I couldn't really analyze the book, unless, I went over it with someone, or, took a class where we analyzed it, then I could recall that stuff more easily. Or at least someone could help me do that. So those are the only 2 books I think that I forgot to mention. And like I said, I keep debating. I don't know if I read those in June or in May. I'm not so sure. But like I said, think of this as a June and May combo. In fact, I might edit that, and well, no, I guess I can't. Well, I could, but I've already filmed this, so. Like I said, just think of this as a part of the May-June wrap-up. So, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and click subscribe if you have not already, and much love to my already subscribed viewers, and I hope you are enjoying your reading, and talk to you later. Bye!